Alright, I'm doing this video again because DRambo is criminally underrated, and I also want to keep doing stuff on this because I'm hoping that the dev beepstreet keeps supporting this, as there's just a ton of stuff that you can do on a mobile device these days. DRambo is available for your phone, it's available for iPad, and I'm here to kind of demonstrate again why this thing is so sick. Now, the last time I did this, I did it on my phone, and since then I've acquired an iPad. This has kind of been like the best hardware quote-unquote investment that you can get if you want to treat it that way. I've got a snare thing here that I've built from scratch in DRambo. It sounds like this. Dude, this was just like, look, this is basically Ableton and Bitwig's device menu in a semi-modular format on your iPad or your iPhone. So if that's not convincing enough, let's go ahead and explore some stuff that you can do. So DRambo in itself is a groove box, and it's a semi-modular environment that has lots of different options for sound design. It has this little record button to where you can resample or just sample stuff in general, and that feature set alone is so handy that it's pretty much a suite all-in-one. It has wavetable stuff, so this is an expansion that you do have to get, but there's also wavetable LFOs that you can utilize your own wavetables for. Unfortunately, there is not a wavetable designer, but I'm hoping that comes in the future. But you can use something like ButterSynth to do that if you so choose, or you can just do your stuff on Serum or Faceplant and then do like an airdrop or whatever. But this thing in particular has a wavetable designer, and then you can go bleak and then boop, whatever, and save that as your own wavetable and then put that into your wavetable LFO, so you're covered. So if you hadn't noticed, this also supports what's called AUV3, which would be the equivalent of Apple or iOS VSTs, and the cool thing about this is that you can utilize a lot of these things. For example, let's pull up a neurofilter default, where you can see I've got some wavetable LFOs, and if we open this up, look at this. So from a sound design perspective, I'll tell you this much. DRambo, or the iPad as a means of sound design, is there. It is there. It is not perfect, but everything that you need in order to create just about every other sound that you want to is pretty much available, and this is kind of the driver for your sound design environment. If you have a mobile DAW, actually if you buy this from the App Store on Mac, then you actually get a desktop version as well. But what I was going to say is that you can use this inside of, say, like Logic for iPad or Cubase's or something, which is great, but it's just nice. And the reason why I would probably use this inside of Cubase's or Logic or something if I were to ever use something like that is because of that resampling feature. There's a couple of limitations if you use it as a plugin, but this pretty much has all different kinds of things that you can build into it. I mean, check this out. I've got this percussion generator, Perk Easy, and what I have set on here, or what I can do rather, is I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to go to Audio In. And now with this, as you can hear, anytime that the mic picks something up, it's a percussive maker. So I'm just tapping my iPad now, but it's got a modal resonator, delay rack, frequency shifter. As you can see, I've got a suite of things on here that are from FabFilter. This is basically like your glue compressor. This is your OTT. It's not my favorite, but it works. So I can just go like this, hit play. Cool. Now what's really cool is I can take something like this. Let me turn this off. And I can go into Life now, which I've got a video coming out about this if I haven't dropped it already, and I can go bloop, I can go import audio, and then I can find whatever that was that we just did. So if we go to, on my iPad, we go to DRambo, samples, recordings, and we find whatever date is from today, which I think is at the bottom, 7/1/24. You can see I've recorded all these things, 2:45 a.m. What's at the bottom here? 12:51. Now look at this. We can just import this entire thing, well, 15 seconds of it anyways, into this, name it Imminent Ivory. What's the closest to white? I probably would be yellow. And go save. So now with this, I am able to kind of just load that up into the iPad, or sorry, up into Bitwig and pull that up as a VST. I would love for Life to actually come to iPad. There is something that you can utilize that is similar to Life, which is called Egoist from Sugar Bytes, which I'm not trying to get into like a whole plug-in display thing or whatever, but you can go like this and import your own sample. So whatever that was, recent, right here, 12:51, open, and this will slice stuff for you. So like I said, from a sound design perspective, everything is there, and I think that this deserves another look because there's a few creators out there that are doing mobile iPad design or making music on iPad, like the Sound Test Room, Jacob, or is it Jacob Hawk? Jacob, yeah, I'm butchering his name, I'm so sorry, but he's a great dude. I want to say he's from Sweden. Really awesome person. And then there's iPad Pro Maker and some other content creators and stuff. But from a sound design perspective of how to actually do stuff, like, yo, DRambo has like everything that you need. This is literally the sound design pocket version of Bitwig. The one thing that I would say that is still missing from me being like, yo, I could create music the way that I want to inside of the iPad or whatever, is there's not really a good solution for a timeline. And there's also not a great solution for like repitching samples and doing crazy warp modes and stuff and having like a quick access to bounce. And to be honest with you, Rolling Sampler just kind of wrecked me, because I will never go back. I refuse to work on music unless if it's in like a Digitact or something, of course, but even then that's got resampling. But yeah, I refuse to work outside of like serious music production without Rolling Sampler. However, that being said, look at this, man. It's so cool. Like, there's tons of stuff that you can do, and the fact that you can import like your third-party plugins and then do modulation of those. So if we go, I don't know, processor, there's your racks if you want those. All different kinds of stuff here that I have: drums, neuro stuff, percussion maker. I made a fake ring mod, space labyrinth, right? All of these things. We can just grab something like an LFO. Or actually what we can do is be like map, go like this, and now you'll see this pop up as a knob. And this is another feature that I want to show you because this is crazy. Sometimes within some of these features, which I'll show you in just a second, you can't technically modulate, but you actually can. So let's say I want to go here. Let me get out of this. I'm trying to get out of this lock step here. Okay, so if I go like this and attach this, now this LFO is going to attach to the reverb size, and you can see that that's moving. So you can use that for third-party plugins. What's more is if you have something like, I don't know, let's grab the modal resonator. This thing is basically object delay in one, except you have a lot of different versions or a lot of different physical modeling engines inside of this. And this isn't the only one. There's also FM that can kind of create some cool stuff. I would love to see this expanded on because this is one of my favorite things. But as you can see, there's two gray arrows here, and there's on the material there's none. So what you can do is utilize something called maybe morph. And so what you do is you assign that to whatever knob you want, and now look. And then guess what? This is gray. So you can go back and use an LFO on this. Sorry if I'm like too advanced or whatever to some people. But yeah, look, you can use an LFO on a morph on something that you're not supposed to be able to modulate. Convolution reverb, anybody? It's possible. Yeah, man, this thing is so cool. I use this a lot for sound design. I use it for idea starters. I use it to just practice my skills without actually having to sit down in a chair. So, for example, I try to give myself limitations and come up with neurobases or create stuff like that. I have not gone as far as making like a Requiem style patch just because I could do it, but I don't want to. It would just be a lot. I suppose I could, but yeah, but I can. It's possible. And with an iPad that has, at least 8 gigs of RAM, 16 gigs of RAM, I think that's as high as you can get. Like, the possibilities with this are pretty vast. So anyways, I just kind of wanted to give you a quick showcase of DRambo and a quick, run through of this. I'm not sponsored by them. They don't pay me or anything. They didn't ask me to do this. I just am like, man, why are more people not putting this kind of content on YouTube? It's literally on your iPad. Almost everybody has one of these, or an iPhone. You can get this on your iPhone. The base version is $20, just so that you know, and then they have expansions on the shop, which I think that each expansion is $5, I want to say. But this one, the Waves extension, gives you access to wavetables. The Foreman extension gives you, I don't remember what that is. I don't remember what some of these do, but they're all worth it. And you can check them out. Oh yeah, the wave scanner, the BBD resonator, Foreman oscillator, Foreman filter. So this is the wavetable oscillator, wave effect, and wave filter, which this doesn't support official like FM-esque-ish stuff. But what is cool is that with a vocoder, you can actually vocode another wavetable with another wavetable. So it's not quite the same, obviously, as FM. It doesn't necessarily add harmonics to it, but it can basically do some kind of cool phase modulation. So with that, that's pretty much DRambo in a nutshell. Feel free to ask me any questions that you might have. This thing is awesome. You can build almost anything within this, and it is such a fun tool to use. So yeah, go get it. Support Beepstreet and tell them to keep making stuff for this, because I want to see them flesh this out and hopefully get a timeline. Thanks everybody. I'll see you in the next one.